Tomorrow is a big day. For the first time ever, Colorado is part of Super Tuesday voting.
So Denver 7's Russell Haythorne is going 360, breaking down how you vote, who gets delegates, and the increased influence our state now has on the eventual nominee.
Let's get one thing straight. Colorado will not be another Iowa.
It will not be like Iowa, I promise.
Please raise your hand.
In fact, this year there's very little chance of that because for the first time in 20 years, we won't be caucusing for a presidential nominee.
Where people get together in their neighborhoods and their precincts and argue for a couple hours about who the next president should be.
It was just confusing. A lot of people had a negative, hard experience with the caucus.
That was 2016. Here's what's happened since. In 2018, you voted for Colorado to return to a primary system. And this year, both Republicans and Democrats mailed out their ballots. The simplest ballot ever with one question: who is your pick for president? By now, you've mailed that back in. If you haven't, no worries. You can deliver it in person tomorrow, or you can vote in person at open polling locations.
Primary systems just make it simpler.
We are moments away from our first ever Super Tuesday presidential primary.
That's new, too. Colorado is now a part of Super Tuesday, where nearly a third of the delegates nationwide are up for grabs. Super Tuesday states tend to be big players.
We're getting a lot of attention.
Early states tend to matter more.
I think overall it's a really good thing.
Also new this year, Colorado is a semi-closed system, meaning unaffiliated voters can now participate in the presidential primary.
So it really opens up the process to a lot more voters.
Unaffiliateds are now the largest voting group in Colorado.
But a word of caution to that huge voting bloc. Even though you get both the Republican and Democratic ballots in the mail or in person tomorrow, you can vote only once in one contest.
If you return two, they will both be spoiled and not count.
Can't do both. If you send in both, they invalidate both.
So who's got the best chance tomorrow? The political parties say on the Republican side it's all Trump. On the Democratic side, it's up for grabs.
2016, Bernie Sanders did really well here. He did better than Hillary Clinton here. My suspicion is he still will.
Well, my prediction is, I can tell you based on what I'm seeing right now, there is a lot of enthusiasm on the ground.
While political pundits say the field should narrow after tomorrow.
I think locally in Colorado, Bernie Sanders is going to pull off the win. The question really is how big of a win.
Whoever does win, on the Republican side, it's winner takes all the delegates. On the Democratic side, more than one candidate could end up with delegates after the primary.
They allocate their delegates proportional by congressional district.
On the Democratic side, there are 67 delegates. 44 of those delegates are up for grabs by district. For each congressional district a candidate does well in, they can earn delegates. And then there are 23 delegates given statewide. But you have to get 15% of the vote in order to qualify for delegates statewide or by district. For example, if Bernie Sanders gets 40% of the vote in Colorado and Biden gets 20%, both would come away with delegates.
Folks have to get 15% in order to get delegates allotted to them.
So in another scenario, if it looks something like this, Bernie would get all the delegates. And not to confuse you, but one more important note on this topic.
Move quickly.
Colorado will still be caucusing this Saturday to pick all the other candidates in all the other races aside from president. That's for the June 30th primary.
Democrats and Republicans will decide about U.S. Senate candidates, House candidates. They'll decide about state legislative candidates.
That is where we decide who goes on the ballot for all the other races.
So have fun, Colorado, and fear not.
In Colorado, the process is better for you.
We think Colorado's role in deciding the outcome of the 2020 presidential election is going to be very huge.
Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.